Hi everybody, it's Mrs. Behrens. I have your science lesson today for Monday, October 26th, 2020. The materials you will need are your science notebook, a pencil, and colored pencils or crayons. Our learning targets for today are: I can observe the connections between two systems, and I can describe the connections between two systems. Today is an exciting day because we will be combining our terrarium and our aquarium. I have both parts here, and I want to remind you first of what exists in each of these systems. First, we have our terrarium. The terrarium, or terra, which means earth, is the earth portion of our ecosystem. That means out of the water. Our terrarium contains a number of different things. We have gravel in the bottom, soil. We have 4 different plants that are growing: alfalfa, mustard, ryegrass, and then we have leaf matter that was gathered outside. We also have isopods, and as you learned today in our reading lesson, we have added crickets to our terrarium. So there's your little reminder on the terrarium. Second, we have our aquarium. Aquarium starts with aqua, that means water. Our aquarium contains gravel in the bottom. We have 3 different plants. We have elodea, duckweed, and green algae. And we also have mosquito fish and snails. You can see a couple right there. So those are the pieces of the aquarium that we have put together in this system. And today we are going to be combining these two. I've already extended the cylinder here of the aquarium, and that gives me room to place the terrarium on top and close it off as we combine them. So I'm simply going to place this right in here. And as we put these two together, they become what we call an eco-column. Now, our terrarium and our aquarium are combined and are one single unit. They're one system. They've become one ecosystem put together. Now, how might these two impact each other since they are now part of the same ecosystem? They can impact each other in both positive and negative ways. One example that I want to point out, and something that we might observe moving forward, has to do with water runoff. Now that the terrarium is sitting on top of the aquarium, anytime we water these plants, in nature that would be like anytime it rains, that water is going to hit the plants, it's going to run through the soil, and the water is going to grab whatever it finds in the plants and in the soil and bring it right down into the water of the aquarium. Now that can be a positive or a negative impact. If the water or rain runs through the soil and it gets nutrients and vitamins and brings those things into the water, then that is providing positive things for the fish and the snails and the plants in the aquarium. However, if that rainwater runs through the terrarium and it grabs a pollutant, something negative, maybe a chemical or plastic or garbage, or really anything that's negative, anything that's not supposed to be in the ecosystem, and it brings it right down into the aquarium, then those fish and those snails and the plants are going to be negatively impacted or harmed by the things that the water brought from the terrarium. Think about other connections that might exist between the terrarium and the aquarium in this ecosystem, and how these two systems might impact each other now that they are connected. As we think about these things, let's start our science notebook entry for today. I'd like you to take out your science notebook and a pencil and follow along with what I write in my recording. As always, we will start our entry with the date in the corner. Today is, make that black, 10/26/2020, and we will title this entry Combining Aquarium and Terrarium. Once you have your science notebook page dated and titled, follow along with what I write and with how I outline the drawing that we will do for our observation today. First, we are going to draw the outline for our observation drawing. Now that our ecosystem is much taller than it used to be, we are going to use the entire side of the page to complete our drawing. On the right-hand side, I'm first going to draw the terrarium that sits on top. So look at the shape that I'm drawing and try to copy this shape into your notebook. That's our terrarium. Then we have the connector piece that goes in between the two, like that. And finally, we have the aquarium that sits on the bottom. Copy this shape into your science notebook. We will be using it for our observation drawing. Once you have your page looking the way that mine does, we are going to record a few things on the left-hand side that will show our learning and our thinking in regards to this combined ecosystem. The first thing that we are going to do is list examples of producers, consumers, whoops, I made a mistake there. There we go. Decomposers, and non-living things. All four of these categories have examples that we can find in our ecosystem. Your job is to think of the plants, animals, and non-living things that we have in our ecosystem and write them in one of these four categories. Which one do they belong in? The items that I would like you to place in these categories are water, soil, Elodea, snails, mosquito fish, isopods, crickets, algae, duckweed, grass, air, and leaf matter. You do not have to list all of these things at the bottom of your page. Instead, pause the video right now and write each of these items in whichever category it belongs in above. Is water a producer, a consumer, a decomposer, or a non-living thing? I know that water is a non-living thing, so I'm going to list it underneath that category. Pause the video now and list each of these items in the categories above. Once you are done placing all of these items in the categories of producer, consumer, decomposer, and non-living thing, your next job is to complete an observation of our completed ecosystem. This means doing a drawing in the outline that you've completed on the right-hand side of what you see in the ecosystem. In order to get a better view of our completed ecosystem, I have put a photograph of the ecosystem in this assignment. So you can exit this video, view the photograph, complete your observation drawing, and once you have all of these words placed in a category and your observational drawing completed, you will take a photo of your page and submit it to Schoology.